We are learning some new details about the man who opened fire on former President Trump over the weekend at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Just when you thought you knew everything about Trump's wild return to the Republican stage, we're here to reveal the latest shocking details. We've got the latest scoop on the assassination attempt that left everyone stunned, the family drama unfolding behind the stage, and much more. Stay with us as we dive into the untold stories and shocking details. But first, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for all the updates. Let's kick things off with the main event, Donald Trump's acceptance of the Republican presidential nomination for the third time. This was no ordinary political event. It was a spectacle, and it all began with a series of celebrity appearances that set the tone for the evening. Upon Kid Rock's arrival on stage, the enthusiasm in the audience picked up as he performed his hit song, American Badass. After UFC CEO Dana White gave his introductory speech, the audience only got more enthusiastic. The crowd ripped at it as legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan stole the show with a shirt-ripping endorsement. A sing-along rendition of God Bless the USA added to the atmosphere of togetherness and pride.
What happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next President of the United States? Enough was enough, and I said, let Trumpomania!
Just when you thought it could be any more crazily patriotic, as the crowd settled, the atmosphere remained charged with anticipation. Giant lights spelled out Trump's name behind him as he made his entrance, striding confidently onto the stage. But in a surprising twist, the former president seemed relatively subdued as he began his speech. For more than 90 minutes, Trump spoke to the Republican faithful, often veering off script, sharing his vision for America, and recounting some truly dramatic personal experiences. One of the most gripping moments of his speech was his recounting of the assassination attempt he had survived just days before.
The shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together.
The crowd was hushed as Trump detailed the harrowing experience. As you already know, the bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life, he began, describing how he had turned his head to view a chart about immigration on a teleprompter screen when he heard a loud whizzing sound and felt a sharp impact on his right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. He praised the bravery of the Secret Service agents who rushed to his aid, calling them very brave. Trump expressed his belief that he was saved by divine intervention. I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God, he declared, adding that many people saw it as a providential moment. He also credited the crowd at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania for their calm response, which prevented a panic and possible stampede. They just didn't want to leave me, and you can see that love written all over their faces, he said. Despite the overarching theme of unity that he tried to promote, Trump couldn't resist taking sharp jabs at Democratic leaders throughout his speech. His critique of Joe Biden's presidency was scathing, although he made just one direct mention of his rival's name, calling him one of the worst presidents in history. The damage he has done to this country is unthinkable, Trump said. He also touched on Biden's recent COVID-19 diagnosis, adding a layer of uncertainty to the future of Biden's candidacy. Speculation was rife, with reports suggesting that leading Democrats, including Barack Obama, were questioning Biden's position, and a growing number of congressional lawmakers were urging him to step aside for a new candidate. By the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here, creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote, Trump said during his acceptance speech. I am trying to buy your vote, I'll be honest about that, he added. And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. In typical Trump fashion, his speech included several bold claims, some of which required a closer look. He pledged to build the rest of the southern border wall, claiming that, most of which I have already built. However, this claim isn't entirely accurate, as fewer than 500 miles were constructed during his first term. He also painted a dramatic picture of the economy, stating that groceries are up 50%, gasoline is up 60 to 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. While inflation is indeed a significant issue, the actual figures show a total price rise of about 20% since Biden took office in January 2021. Trump also reiterated his baseless assertion that fraud in the 2020 election cost him the presidency, a claim that has been widely debunked. The Trump family was no longer merely a supporting cast, but rather a real Republican power structure with the potential to become a dynasty. High-profile speaking engagements were granted to his sons, Eric and Don Jr. Don Jr. is said to have had a significant impact on his father's choice of vice president. Lara Trump, Eric's wife, performed on stage earlier in the week. She is going to be an important part of the election campaign as co-chair of the Republican National Committee. Lesser-known Trump family members made appearances at the conference as well, including his avid golfing granddaughter, Kai. One of the most talked about moments was Melania Trump's rare public appearance. Known for her elusive nature, Melania walked into the convention in Milwaukee, adorned in Republican red and accompanied by classical music, a stark contrast to the country music anthems and rock ballads that had dominated the week. She looked more like she was walking down a catwalk than entering a political convention, maintaining her inscrutable and distant demeanor. Melania joined Trump on stage after his lengthy acceptance speech, walking to the podium just before balloons rained down on the crowd. Donald Trump greeted her with a hug, and the pair shared a kiss on the cheek. He then grabbed her hand and walked across the stage as other members of the Trump family joined them. Melania's presence was a powerful reminder of her unique role and influence. Ever since Trump was first elected in 2016, Melania has broken many of the traditional rules of American presidential politics. In the White House during Trump's first term, she was a reclusive figure compared to other first ladies, focusing on a narrow set of interest theory. The U.S. National Archives describes her as an ambassador for kindness and an advocate for children's issues. Since her husband left office, she has often been absent from key public events, including some of Trump's most critical moments, such as his mugshot in Atlanta, his conviction in New York, and the official announcement of his presidential nomination. Melania does what Melania wants, said Mary Jordan, author of The Art of Her Deal, a biography on the former First Lady. She is fiercely independent and won't do something just because other people do it. She doesn't feel any obligation to do it. Her absence from many of Donald Trump's events has become expected, but on the night of the convention, her appearance felt particularly significant. Melania is the most enigmatic first lady in modern history, and we rarely hear her thoughts directly. An exception was the lengthy statement she released after the assassination attempt on her husband, which read as though she may have dictated it herself. A monster who recognized my husband as an inhuman political machine attempted to extinguish Donald's passion, his laughter, ingenuity, love of music, and inspiration, she said. The core facets of my husband's life, his human side, were buried below the political machine. Donald, the generous and caring man who I have been with through the best of times and the worst of times. It is traditional at party conventions for the candidate's spouse to give a speech and share anecdotes about family life. On Wednesday evening, Usha Vance, the wife of Trump's newly minted running mate J.D. Vance, did just that. She called her husband a meat and potatoes man, but noted that he now cooked her Indian vegetarian food, showing his devotion. While Donald Trump's oldest son Don Jr., middle son Eric, daughter-in-law Lara, and granddaughter Kai all spoke at the convention, Melania declined the opportunity to speak. She very clearly does not do anything she does not want to do. When she introduced her husband at the 2016 convention, when he first ran for president, things went horribly wrong. She was criticized for plagiarizing the speech Michelle Obama gave in 2008 when she introduced her husband, Barack, at the Democratic convention. Melania's speechwriter later accepted the blame, but the incident left a lasting impression. First ladies are always heavily scrutinized for the image they project, the causes they adopt, and the clothes they wear. But Melania Trump is the first who was previously a professional model. She looks fabulous in photographs and is well aware of the power of her image. By offering so few photo opportunities, she makes each one infinitely more powerful. She is very savvy and has cultivated the mystery woman mystique by going underground, and then, when she does come out, it's a much bigger deal, says Ms. Jordan. She doesn't appear very often, but she does show up when Donald Trump really needs her. After Saturday's attempt on his life, Melania felt missing in action. But on Thursday night, as she slowly walked the stairs to the VIP section, paused at the top, and waved to all corners of the arena, she showed her mastery of the power of an image. Her absence may at times be her strength. Trump's attempt to promote national unity was evident throughout his speech, but he couldn't resist ad-libbed lines criticizing top Democrats and the leadership of the United Auto Workers, one of the country's largest unions. In addition to his criticism of President Biden, he called Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker, crazy. Referring to the legal cases against him, he said, "They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country." Trump also demanded that the Democrat Party should immediately